Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club Podcast, where every month we deep dive into different aspects of cinema, directors, genres, actors, or franchises. It doesn't matter, because it's always fun at the Film Club. I'm Dean.
I'm Boo.
And this month we are going through the horror trends of the 1990s. Last week we did the Scream ripoffs. This week we are doing the slasher comeback films?
Comeback, revival. Don't call it a comeback.
Been here for years.
Yeah.
Like, kind of literally for this one, because we're doing the slasher comeback film of the most iconic slasher villain.
Yes.
Arguably.
Yes.
At least the original.
I'm biased, but yes.
And this one is
Halloween H20.
Halloween H20. Halloween 20 years later. The first movie of the franchise that actually brings Jamie Lee Curtis back since the second one.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would say was the consensus best sequel for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I guess everybody's got their favorites. You know, I think 4 is really good. I think 2's fun. But this was really the one everyone was like, if you're going to watch the Halloween franchise, you can watch 1, 2, and this, and it's a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really need anything else other than this. But last week, we talked about I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is a very heavily influenced Scream ripoff.
Yes.
Or maybe not ripoff, but would not exist without Scream.
Mm-hmm.
And Halloween as a franchise was kind of treading water and doing some weird-ass shit for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the original came out in 1978, and there had been 5 sequels since that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last sequel before this was in 92 or 94 with Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And we'll just say that the Halloween franchise falls off a steep hill after Halloween 3. Real steep. I don't think you guys understand how bad that franchise gets. But
yeah, it does.
It does. But Halloween H20, well, after Scream comes out,
Mm-hmm.
slashers become the new hottest thing ever.
Yep.
And what was the main inspiration, parody, meta commentary that Scream did throughout the entire fucking movie?
Halloween.
Yes. So the Accods, who are the rights holders for it,
Mm-hmm.
and Dimension Films and the Weinstein Company were like, well, let's fucking cash in on this. They make Halloween H20. Now, I'm curious, because you're a huge Halloween fan.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen all of the films?
I haven't seen all of them. I've only... No. Look, I'm not a completionist like you. I know when to...
When to back out.
Yes, I know when to back out.
You're the kind of person that gets to the first bad Hellraiser movie and you're done, so you haven't seen anything past 3?
Yes. It's like, no, I refuse. I mean, I know eventually I'll probably have to watch them for the podcast, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
But this one is just chef's kiss, Kino. It was a perfect way to kind of pull the franchise back.
And then eventually re-kill the franchise with what follows.
And then we killed it, and then it just kind of stayed dead in the water, and then we got a sequel franchise in the... was 2018?
Yeah, with the David Gordon Green Halloween franchise, which did the same thing where, oh, that's a pretty good one, and then it continues to kill itself.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about Halloween H20, and I guess to get it started, because, you know, I asked, have you seen all the Halloween films? I've seen all of them. I've seen every single one. So I'm curious, how much of the Halloween franchise were you aware of before you saw H20 for the first time? Like, had you seen 1, 2, 3? Had you seen 4? Had you seen Curse of Michael Myers? Or was it just the first one and then this?
No, I think it was I saw 1 and 2, and then I saw this one.
Okay, so you saw kind of the best way to watch this series. Okay. Because Halloween H20 ignores Halloween's 3, 4, 5, 6.
Obviously.
Just completely ignores them. And I remember watching this for the first time I was maybe like 10 or 11, because I got all the Halloween movies, I marathoned them all, and this one confused the shit out of me. Because I had where's the Cult of Thorn? Where's her daughter? What's his name here? LL Cool J, and her son, like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm just saying, this movie is confusing as shit without context.
Like, I suppose.
You suppose?
I suppose.
I mean, look, if you watch this in order of the entire franchise, this movie is fucking weird. But the movie on its own is actually pretty good.
It slaps.
It slaps, but I digress. So, this movie has a really weird way of coming into being, because we went through that whole rigmarole of it being Scream did this, that, whatever. The movie, basically they wanted to make another Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Chris Michael Myers bombed. No one liked it. They're going to revive it. Jamie Lee Curtis wants to come back. She kind of wants to come back because Scream made her very, 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 very popular again.
Yeah.
She was already very popular. She was in
big movies.
She was in like True Lie. She was in like a bunch of movies. The magic of the Scream franchise is not just it made the iconic Michael Myers, it also had one of like the generational leading ladies in it on accident. But again, I digress. So she wants to come back, and she wants to bring back John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, the whole...
Oh yeah, it was going to be a whole reunion.
Yeah.
With the surviving people that, made it out of 78. Because, I mean, obviously, you have her friends that are gone. So it would have been a very interesting movie to see what would have happened in John Carpenter's 20 years later, Halloween 20 years later.
Well, he was going to do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it would have been interesting to see what his story would have been compared to what we get in H20.
It is interesting to think about, but I guess that's an interesting production note, is John Carpenter was going to come back, but he wanted like $10 million. Basically, he wanted all the back pay from the first movie that he never got.
Yeah.
Then they told John Carpenter no, and Deborah Hill was like, well, I stand with Carpenter.
Yeah.
Then they got Steve Miner, who was a Friday the 13th director, but he had worked with Jamie Lee Curtis on whatever the film she did right before this. And she was like, you know what? Fine. Fuck it. Miner will do it. And I find the production of this movie fucking fascinating because there's like 6 masks in it. The score changes.
It does.
The score changes hands a bunch of times. I think there's 3 separate composers working on 3 separate scores, and they all just kind of get thrown together because no one knows which one to go with.
Because you don't have the John Carpenter there.
You don't have John Carpenter there, who just knows how the fuck to score a movie on his own.
You need the John Carpenter there to score a Halloween movie.
Not only that, the movie is so bare bones because it's only like 80 minutes.
Yeah, it's a really fast watch.
Yeah, it's a fast watch. It's so short, which is probably a good thing, but there's also a lot of like character stuff to it, and it almost feels like there's stuff missing out of it because it's not really a slasher movie for like the majority of the film.
Yeah, I think there's like what was it, 7 body count?
A 7 body count, and half of it's in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Most of it's in the beginning of the movie. It's weird, right?
A little bit. I mean...
I know we're beating around the bush, but it's just... This is a very weird movie when you look at it on paper.
Yeah.
Like, on paper, this shouldn't work. We're going to come 20 years after, like, the last good movie. We're going to try and, like, make a sequel with the original actress and nobody else, because Donald Pleasance, he had already passed away.
Yeah.
John Carpenter is like, I don't want to make the movie if you're not going to pay me. And the script also went through like 3 or 4 people. I think Kevin Williamson, the screenwriter, did a pass on it at one point. So it's such a weird movie on paper for it to turn out as good as it is. Right?
So good.
It is.
I love this movie.
This movie kind of slaps.
It does. It do.
I know this. I know people listening are like, Dean, you're being fucking incoherent. I kind of am, because the movie shouldn't be as coherent as it is. It's a little messy. And it kind of works.
Yeah, and I mean, if they were to keep in this vein when they moved over to the Blumhouse 2018 movies and they just swapped out the daughter for her son, it would still work. It would still fall in that line of Laurie dealing with her PTSD.
Yes, but I like this version far more than the 2018 version of Laurie Strode. And I think that's something we're going to get into, because this is the Laurie Strode story, not the Michael Myers story, which is, I think, what a lot of people disliked about it, is because a lot of the Halloween sequels were about Michael Myers going on his rampage to kill teenagers and find his niece and all this other stuff. This is way more of the Laurie Strode like show, which I guess makes sense. Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of the reason this movie fucking exists in the first place. But that is how we get to Halloween H20. And how it starts is with Mr. Sandman. Big reference to Halloween 2.
You know, another banger.
Another banger. Solid song. So we get the opening sequence. We get to see Nurse Chambers show back up again, but I think they changed her name in this.
I mean, she could have gotten married.
Yes, she could have gotten married. It's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years. You know, things happen.
But she's the nurse from the first film. I guess she has all of Dr. Loomis's files, or she's at his house, like he just passed away.
Well, she had said, oh no, it was the police investigators. They had said that she was his nurse and she was taking care of him and she moved into the home. So
she's like a stay-at-home nurse.
A stay-at-home nurse, and he had already passed, so I'm assuming maybe he left the home to her. He never had a family or anything, so this is now her home.
Well, it might be a thing he passed away like not long before the movie starts, because Donald Pleasance isn't in the film.
No.
And
this is the first one without him, right?
Yes, this is the first film without him. Donald Pleasance, to his credit, was in every single Halloween film until he died.
Good on him. He's a great actor.
Oh, fantastic actor. I mean, he's in much better films than the Halloween movies, by the way, guys. Go watch Great Escape. Fantastic in that film. But that's kind of the thing. Like, Dr. Loomis was like the torchbearer, the lead character of this franchise, way more than Laurie Strode was.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it weren't for like Laurie Strode being the main like survivor girl of the first movie,
you mean the final girl,
or the final girl? You know, survivor girl's final girl. You know, interchangeable. If it weren't for her being the final girl, I really think like this whole franchise is just the Loomis story up until H2O.
I guess, but you know, a good final girl will really drive a franchise.
Okay, of course.
Because, you know, we want to see, you know, how will she do it again this time? How will she survive? But I know she'll survive.
I mean, Dr. Loomis survived.
He did.
But Marilyn shows up. Marion Chambers shows up. Somebody's broken into her house. And who else to help her other than Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Obviously.
A young Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Definitely around Third Rock time.
Definitely. No, he had already been on TV. I think he had already been a known actor for a while at this point.
This wasn't, you know, like, we're introducing.
No.
It's like, no, he'd been around for a while.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because this is a pretty stacked fucking cast.
Yeah.
This might be the best cast out of any of the Halloween movies, if we're being completely honest. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt shows up, helps Marion, Nurse Chambers, looks through the house. No one's there, but somebody trashed her office looking for the Laurie Strode file that Dr. Loomis left.
Every last piece of that file.
Exactly. Took everything. And then we get probably the best kill sequence of the movie, or at least the spookiest one.
This is where we really go in that Scream vein, where it's like, oh, cool, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Oh no, he's not going to make it.
Exactly. They kind of do the exact same thing that Scream did.
Yeah.
We get a known actor or a famous actor. They're going to be the lead. We think they're going to be the lead teenagers of the movie.
We get excited and we're like, oh wow, we're going to, you know, go through this journey with them. And it's like, oh no, you're not making it like past the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, because he dies with a hockey stick to the head or a hockey skate.
It's a skate.
Skate to the face. A skate to the face. He dies. His buddy, who was the Sprite kid from the commercials, also dies.
And he was in Never Been Kissed with Drew Barrymore.
Oh.
He's one of the teens in that movie.
Never Been Kissed. Never seen the movie.
Such a good movie.
That's what you say. And then Nurse Chambers also dies as the cops finally show up to check out her house.
Yeah.
And he manages to slip away as the cops are like, oh my god, there's like people here or whatever.
Yeah, he just, you know, rolls down the driveway with lights off and, you know, just cruises down the street. And then he is like, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm back.
He's back. We're kind of speed running through the opening of the movie, but the movie's fucking fast.
It's really fast. And I mean, Marion, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Sprite Dude, they all bite the dust before their names show up on the credits, the opening credits.
Yes, that's really true. The opening credits take place like right after this, and it's like this montage with the this is where the music finally like.
It's the Halloween music.
It's the Halloween music, but it has this big orchestral score underneath it with a swell and all this other stuff where I like the music on its own. I don't think it's great because it's so complicated.
And it's overcomplicated because they're trying to compensate, but I think they're also kind of like...
They wanted to have this big prestige-y score on a slasher film.
And it was probably also like, we can kind of get away with using John's stuff, but we really need to, add layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you don't hear it as often in the film as you would in Halloween 2, the original Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this. It's like they're trying to be safe. It's like, yeah, we're using it, but this is a legacy film.
Yeah, this is like the first legacy film,
mm-hmm.
right? And it is so weird. 'Cause, like, let's just talk about the opening of the movie, right? Because we're in context, right? We're gonna go into the movie theater. It's 1998.
99.
No, this is 98 because it's 20 years after.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Sorry, 98. Yeah.
See, Dean remembers. Dean does math.
Well, I'm sorry. I was thinking, party like it's 1999.
I know. But so it's 1998. Yes. We're going to the movie theater. We haven't seen a Halloween movie in a few years, and it was like shit. And we're like, we're going to watch Halloween H20.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is back.
Jamie Lee Curtis is back. Oh my God. She was in Trading Places. I love that movie. You're watching Halloween H20. This is the opening of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Very Scream-esque.
Yes.
Right? The people we have in the beginning of the movie, traditionally in a movie, the first people you see are generally your main characters or people you're going to follow throughout the film.
But not in the Scream franchise.
Not in the Scream franchise. Also not in the Halloween franchise.
Nope.
In the first one in 78, like, Michael kills his sister.
She bites the dust.
Exactly, which is John Carpenter referencing the most famous movie to ever do that, Psycho.
Yes.
And this, it's almost a thing where Halloween H20 is embarrassed that it's referencing Scream, so it's referencing Psycho instead, because there's a lot of Psycho references in this.
But there's also, a lot of Scream in this.
A lot of Scream in this.
I mean, there's even Scream 2 in this.
Yes, there is even Scream 2 in this. There's also the thing where the movie's very meta, because they're watching, like, Plan 9 from Outer Space, the teenagers are watching it, like, in the opening of the movie. So it's very meta that movies exist in this world. There's, like, horror movies.
I mean, I did watch Ed Wood last night.
It's a great movie.
I love that movie so much.
I know. But the opening of the movie, it's fun. It gets me excited about what's coming next, mostly because it's like, oh, there's people I recognize. Oh, the kills look good. Because, again, the quality of these films took a downturn, and it's almost like, hey, guys, we're back. We have a real filmmaker behind this. We have some real good effects. I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
What really gets me going now is what happens next, where it's Laurie who is having her nightmare. She's traumatized by what's going on.
I love how clear that nightmare is.
I know you're a big fan of the dream sequence.
I mean, I like that it doesn't feel, like a lot of dream sequences that we see in movies. It feels like, oh, okay, we're in Laurie's office, but then it's, oh no, we're in Laurie's mind. And we are, getting pulled to the closet, and we're getting, a great cutback of, where he's breaking through the closet to get her, and we see her name being written on the board, and it's kind of like, well, that's weird, but it's a dream, so, things are to be interpreted. And then later on in the film, we understand why we're seeing her name being written on the board.
Yes.
So it's just this kind of cool thing to see her brain working from the inside. And then we awake.
We awaken. Finding out this was a dream sequence, we finally see where Laurie is now.
Yes.
And where Laurie is now is a functional alcoholic who is the headmistress of a very, very balling out of its mind boarding school that's sending its whole student body to Yosemite.
Because why not?
Because
it's Halloween. Why not?
Halloween. Why not? And she's like a single mother of Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, and this is introducing Josh Hartnett.
Is this his first movie?
I believe so.
So fucking, because, well, if this is his first movie, because I know he was in, like, Virgin Suicides and The Faculty and all these other stuff. Did he just do, like, 6 movies right before the year 2000 or what?
Could have. I mean, hey, he was young.
I guess. But yeah, her son John is played by Josh Hartnett, who is one of the better people in the movie.
Yeah, I mean...
There's like 3 actors in this whole film that really stand out, and everyone else is like kind of okay.
Yeah.
He's definitely number 3 on my list of standout performances in Halloween H20. And it's mostly because how him and Jamie Lee Curtis play off of each other.
Yeah.
Because he is like, he's really getting to the point of like, look, Mom, I'm 17. This guy attacked you 20 fucking years ago. Can I please go out with my friends?
It's the same cliche that we see in 2018 where it's, this thing happened to you 40 years ago. Get over it. And then Michael comes back and everyone's like, shit, Laurie, you were right.
You were right, Laurie. We should have listened.
We should have listened.
Judgment Day has come, Sarah Connor, please.
Why didn't we listen?
But I'm curious your thoughts on the Laurie John relationship, because that's like a crux of the movie.
It
like,
is.
Really.
And I mean, it feels very natural. It doesn't feel like, this is a movie and, we're just trying to pretend like, this is mother and son. It's like, oh no, you feel like this is a relationship where, he has cared for his mother and he's gone with, everything that she tells him, but he's just kind of getting to that age of, no, I want to make my own decisions. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of fearing what you fear.
The, I'm an adult phase of your teenage years.
And then later it's me, Mom, no,
please no. I really find their relationship interesting because it is the driving force for a lot of Laurie's decisions. And it's kind of a root issue of her problems, right? And I don't mean like, her having kids like ruined her life. It's her always being afraid of Michael and also having that amplified by also having the need to protect her son.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that stacks on top of each other in a way that actually kind of pays off throughout the film.
Yeah.
And I think we should also talk about some of the other fun people in this movie, because I'm be real with everybody out here. I had like a crisis during recording because the plot of this movie goes so fucking fast. It is 80 minutes.
Yeah, I had to calm him down because he was just like, what do we do? I'm like, just chill. It's a Halloween movie.
It's a Halloween movie. It's the problem with this specifically because it's 86 minutes with credits.
Yeah.
The movie is so fucking fast. We are going to burn through so much of this movie. But let's just talk about the characters in this film. Because we have the teenage cannon fodder. And I only know 2 of their names.
Same. Yo, same. This is one of my favorites, and I don't know too many names in this movie.
Which is kind of weird, because I know, like, traditionally in slasher movies, everyone's supposed to be kind of cannon fodder, right? And even in Scream, everyone's kind of cannon fodder, right? But this is very Scream-influenced, and you can tell that all 4 of these teenagers are of the Scream cloth that they are cut from.
Yes.
Because you have the Randy character. I think the character's name's Charlie. He's the kid from Jumanji.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's the Randy character. You have his girlfriend who, by the way, my man is hidden way above his fucking weight class. My word, that man. That's Sarah, I believe.
Could be.
She's like the quirky pseudo-goth girl?
Yeah, I mean, we always need, a goth girl.
Yeah, is she goth or is she just kind of like punk or what?
It's the 90s, so...
It's the 90s?
New wave?
New wave? What is this, fucking 1984?
Sorry, alt?
Alts? Emo? Are we in the emo phase of the 90s?
No, that's still... I think emo's 2000s. She's not grunge.
Wait, would she be grunge?
Is she a new evolution of grunge?
Well, this is 98, so Cobain died in 94.
Yeah.
So we would be like, I guess she would almost... I like how this is a crux of this fucking podcast, is what is the fashion style of Sarah?
Hey, you were worried that we wouldn't have things to talk about.
A little bit, but I think... But I digress. The alt girl, and then there's Molly, who... She was on Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
What the fuck is her name?
I've never watched Dawson's Creek.
You don't know her? Oh, fuck. What's the actress's name?
The Creek that's your thing. I've never, divulged in that.
I've never seen a single episode of Dawson's Creek.
You bring up the beak a lot, So I feel like, in your quiet time.
Because I know that actress. Is it?
It's Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams. Okay. The fucking Spielberg's mom.
Yes.
From Fabelmans.
Yes.
Which
not really, but from Fabelmans, yes.
Which, by the way, what the fuck? Michelle Williams is in this movie?
Well, it's a 90s movie.
I think I was just taken aback because I saw her name in the credits, but I'm like, that's not the same Michelle Williams.
Yes, it is.
Jesus Christ. Again, very stacked fucking cast, by the way. But these 4 teenagers, they're the archetypes. Kind of what we were talking about in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes.
Right? We have the geek, the
punk rock
girl, we have the cheerleader girlfriend, and we have, I guess John's taking the jock role. I mean, he's the tallest one.
So tall equals jock?
I don't know. Maybe. How would you describe...
he's the dreamy one.
He's the dreamy one?
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr., he was the dreamy one, and I Know What You Did. Okay. So, yeah, he's the dreamy one.
Does Josh Hartnett go on your Mount Rushmore of 90s cute boys? Because I know it's a coveted spot.
He would be an honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Yes.
I see. So Skeet Ulrich, Freddie Prinze Jr., Holding Strong, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Your cute 90s boys are getting very strong.
I can't make anything cement except for Johnny Depp.
Of course.
And maybe Skeet.
So we have our teenage cannon fodder. You can already tell they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Then we have Mr. Cool J. Sorry. LL. The ladies love Cool James. Why the fuck is LL Cool J in this movie?
You want to know what the best thing was?
What?
It's not related to the movie. Well, I mean, kind of, because it's LL. But growing up, my older brother James, I used to borrow his phone all the time to play games because, yes, the evolution of, do you have any games on your phone? Went back to, to our generation. Mm-hmm. So I would take James's phone and be like, can I play? I think it was like Snake or Tetris, whatever, prehistoric games we used to play on cell phones.
Are we going to find out your brother James had a picture of LL Cool J on his phone?
No. On the top of the phone, like the screen, you were able to like customize, like put a name, like on your interior screen. And I remember seeing LL Cool J. Why do you have that there? Because it was just random. I was thinking, like, is he, like, a big fan of LL Cool J? And he's like, no, because the ladies love Cool James. I was like, oh, God, never repeat that. Delete that off your phone, brother. And he was just like, no. He's like, it works. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I haven't seen a girl around here ever. It doesn't work. So sorry, James, if you're listening to this.
I see. So your brother James was not a Cool James.
I mean, he was a pretty cool dude. He used to take me to Blockbuster and Hollywood Videos on Friday nights.
Not a Cool James, but a nice one.
Yes, a very nice one.
Follow up. Why the fuck is LL Cool J in Halloween?
Because apparently he was a really big fan of the series or the franchise. His mom took him to go see the original film in the theater.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was like 9 years old when the first movie came out. And I guess when this one came around, he was like, yo, I gotta be in this. And I don't blame him. If I was an actor at that time, I'd be beating down doors. You gotta let me be an H2O. I need it.
Okay, so...
We all love Halloween. Accept it into your soul.
I understand that. Okay, but here's the thing, because LL Cool J is playing... Is it Rodney or Ronnie?
I almost thought it was Randy.
Ronnie. So he's playing Ronnie the security guard, right? Mm-hmm. Who is an aspiring romance novelist?
Or novelist.
I don't know. He's talking about big melon breasts. And sweat clinging to skin. Honestly, he has some great descriptions.
And I like that it's either his wife or his fiance.
I think it's his wife, who was just ragging on him the entire time.
She's like, really? You really want to write that? He's like, I'm just trying to cut my teeth. I'm trying to get in the game.
He is low-key one of the most developed characters in this movie.
Yes.
We know more about Ronnie, the fucking security guard, than we know about Charlie, about Sarah, about Molly.
Who?
The teenagers that are about to die.
Who?
LL Cool J is embodying so much of this character.
Oh, yeah.
And I am like, still, why the fuck is LL Cool J in this? Because
he's a big fan.
I guess, but it's still a thing where I'm like, he kind of takes me out of the movie a little bit because I'm like, what the fuck is he doing here? Where's like the red pants and the hat? But
no, he's like, I save that for when I'm off of work. That's weekend wear.
I guess. But he's in this movie, and he has this relationship with John, and he's like, hey, I'll let you get out of, like, or I'll open the gates for you so you can go into town or whatever. He is a very just, like, interesting character because he doesn't do a whole lot in the movie, but he is very important to the movie.
Yeah, he's also the comedic relief.
It's kind of the same thing with Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have you ever seen Deep Blue Sea?
Yes, of course I have.
Okay, so everyone out there, one of the greatest cinematic moments I saw as a child was in Deep Blue Sea. It's LL Cool J. He was the chef.
I saw this in the theater.
God, you were so fucking lucky. And
I thought you said you're so fucking old. I'm like, yes, I am.
No, lucky. LL Cool J is playing the chef, and they're being attacked by sharks.
Yes.
Because sharks are coming. And he sets up a camera. He's like, I don't know who's going to get this. And I don't know if I'm going to make it through this, but I need everyone to know. I need my mother, all the women I have loved, everyone out there to know. This is how you make an omelet. You're going to start with 3 eggs, whipped butter. And he goes through how to make a fucking omelet, and it's one of the funniest fucking things in any movie I've ever seen in my life.
You think it's funny, but I make a mean omelet, so where do you think I learned it?
Again, it's totally unrelated to this movie. It's just every time I see LL Cool J, I think how to make an omelet. That's all I think about is every time I see him in this movie. But yeah, so he's in this movie, and he is not in my top 3 best parts about this movie. This next character, I believe it's Alan Arkin's character. Is it Alan Arkin?
Yeah, it's Alan Arkin.
Alan Arkin, who plays Will, is the best actor in this movie. He makes some of the weirdest fucking Kevin Williams dialogue. This fucking sing. Honestly, his interactions with Laurie are great. He can, like, when they're having their moment, when she finally reveals everything to him, it is wonderful. The guy is fucking killing it in every scene he's in. Best character, or best actor in the movie. Sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis. You're only number 2 in this film.
Sorry, I was going to go Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we kind of glossed over the fact this movie is making a lot of Psycho references.
A lot of Psycho references, and then we meet Janet Leigh's character of Norma at the same time as Will.
We do, yeah, because I guess in the plot of this movie, because we meet all the teenagers all at once, right? Right after Laurie's dream sequence, we meet LL Cool J pretty much right after when John sneaks off, and Laurie is going out to lunch with Will, her boyfriend, also one of the counselors at the school, and her secretary is Janet Leigh, her actual real-life mom.
Her mother. 2 scream queens together.
2 scream queens together.
2 icons.
Yes. Also, we'll talk about this right here because I know you want to. The Psycho references in this movie.
Oh my god.
Some of them are kind of fucking distracting.
I mean,
when they actually start playing the Psycho music.
I have seen this movie so many times. Yes. I have lost count how many times I've seen it.
Of course.
I know it's coming. I know it's going to happen. We see the car that's from Psycho, even down to the same license plate on the car from Psycho. And then we get the strings from Psycho. I get chills. I got chills last night, and I'm like, I've seen this 100 times.
You get chills.
I get chills. Psycho is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love that movie.
I know it's a great movie. My eyes roll to the back of my skull.
Well, you could have left them there, because that was Kino, that was cinema. And, meanwhile, I know you're still thinking about Coppola's new movie, whatever it was.
Oh, Megalopolis? Okay, fucking sidebar here. Everyone out there.
No sidebar.
No, we're going to sidebar.
You can think about Megalopolis all you want, and I will sit there in the beauty of Psycho.
I saw Megalopolis on Sunday, and I'm going to say I have not stopped thinking about it since then. That movie.
He loves that movie more than he loves me.
I don't know. I don't love him more than you. I love you more than any movie.
You answered. You're like, I don't know. Whoa.
Quiet you. I was in the middle of my soliloquy. But everyone out there, I love that movie and I hate that movie. I don't know how to feel about it. It is a masterpiece and a train wreck. It is everything in Coppola's mind put to screen. Go see Megalopolis while it's in theaters. You will never. I guarantee you, you will never experience a film like that in the theater again. Just go and see it. You'll think it's awful, and then you won't stop thinking about it. you'll spend weeks thinking about that movie. It is fucking wild. But then there's Psycho,
which is a masterpiece. You don't
actual masterpiece. Yes.
Actual masterpiece. You don't have to sit there and figure out, is this a masterpiece? It is. And the fact that, the people that made this film decided, we're going to bring one of the best Scream Queens, the original Scream Queen, back, and we're going to put her with her daughter. We're going to have the two of them together. That's Kino right there. That's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Well, it's also the thing about H2O and the Halloween and the screaming and all this stuff about it, is Halloween was heavily inspired by Black Christmas and Psycho, right? I think John Carpenter's even gone on record as saying that.
And Black Christmas is an early episode for us.
Very early. It's like episode 10. But very heavily inspired by that.
Yeah.
Scream, heavily inspired by Halloween. Basically, Scream is just riffing off of Halloween. That's the movie. That's the blueprint it is ripping off. Then H2O, which is why I find it kind of weird, is it's doing the same thing Scream is doing, except instead of using Halloween, it's using Psycho as its kind of meta blueprint that it references and plays around with. Because I think they mention it by name a few times.
I know there's a part with LL where he says, I think Laurie Psycho. This is after she, sees that her son has left campus and she has to drag him back to school.
She yells at him and tries off, and he's like, "Huh, psycho."
So it's we get that.
There's the music cue.
You have the music cue. You have the identical car that Marion buys. Janet Leigh's character is Norma, who is Norman Bates' mother's name. So it's just, it's so great when meta could just, hit the nail on the head, and it's like, yes, that was satisfying.
Yes, when the meta is yelling to the cheap seats, all right?
I don't care how far back I have to be in those cheap seats, I will stand up and give it a round of applause.
I getcha. You really, really like the references and stuff like
Oh, yeah, I
love the meta elements.
I love a good Easter egg.
You see, that's the thing. Some of it is kind of subtle. It's a one line or something that is I can kind of you can interpret it in a few ways. It's just when the music cue kicks in that
that's
come
just
on
you, homie.
I suppose.
You could sit there and oh my god, they did this, but you're over there. What is Megalopolis? Am I Megalopolis?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Everyone I don't know.
So it's I can sit there and, get the chills over, just a quiet little interlude of the Psycho score. Because it's Chef's Kiss. It's Kino.
I suppose. Well, we continue on.
Yes.
So, God, the plot of this movie goes by so quickly.
Because her
I know
son,
we kind of glossed over. We're just introducing all the characters because the movie introduces them so fucking quick.
Yeah. So John's girlfriend, she can't go to the Yosemite trip because her dad hasn't paid.
Her family's poor and she's working her way through this boarding school.
She is. And because her dad hasn't paid tuition, that means that she can't go on the Yosemite trip. Obviously, John isn't going because
Laurie doesn't want him to go.
Exactly. So
and Charlie and Sarah are just gonna stay behind.
They're gonna stay behind and have a Halloween party.
Yes. Because
their other two best friends are gonna stay behind. And then, lo and behold, even after getting caught, going off campus to get, flowers for Molly because it's her birthday, Laurie decides after going, and talking to her boyfriend / coworker, Will, that, maybe you do need to let the reins go a little bit. And she's like, you know what? Go ahead. Go to Yosemite. And he's like, awesome. But, I'm a teenager, so I'm going to tell you I'm in Yosemite. But really, I'm staying behind with my friends.
Yes.
And all hell is about to break loose.
Yeah. So that is legitimately a lot of what is going on. There's character stuff in there, but not much. I mean, there is, but it's all around Laurie. Laurie is really the only person that gets a lot of character time in this movie.
Yeah, that's why it's not much.
With her.
Yeah, that's why it's not much to say that these characters don't have character and plot to them, but it's just because the movie moves so fast. It's okay, they skip this, And then it's Laurie interacting with Norma, and then it's, her seeing John off, quotations, seeing John off to his trip on Yosemite, and it's the teenagers. Cool, we're going to have the secret Halloween party.
And and they're like sneaking booze and getting ready to go and party in the basement.
Yeah,
and
so
she goes off with Will to have a romantic date night.
Yeah, and then it's like, even Laurie can't get a romantic date night.
Exactly. So, you know what? I know we just like power tripped through a lot of the plot, but I want to mention that again. I know people might be thinking that, oh, it's 86 minutes, it moves so fucking fast, there's not enough time for anything. The movie's not sloppy, it's very tight.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, oh man, this movie's kind of jumbled, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The movie really does work. It's just incredibly focused on one story, which is the story of Laurie Strode, her trauma and her coming to grips with it and how she's dealing with it.
Yeah, because we're not spending time with the teenagers, getting to know who they are. It's not like Scream where we're getting to know Sydney's core group of people. This is Laurie's story, and we're seeing the people that are surrounding her.
Yeah, we barely cut to Michael at all. There's one scene
at the bathrooms.
At the bathrooms that Michael shows up at, where Laurie isn't present. Like, basically after the opening of the movie, Michael's not in the film.
No.
Like, barely. Like, the bathroom sequence is the only scene he's in until he gets to the school.
And then we don't see him. We just see his legs.
That's true. We don't see him at all.
Because he takes the woman's purse and grabs the keys and steals her car. Also, I love her car.
Oh, that beat up pickup?
It's not even a pickup. That thing is like, it like belonged in England or something. I was just like, that is a cool car. I like that car.
I could not believe that a woman would drive that car.
Why
you kidding
not?
Me? That car.
What, we can't
like
drive cool cars?
No, because that car looked like a death trap.
Please.
But what have you? I guess what happens after all the Yosemite stuff and they're having the party is they're gonna go and Laurie basically reveals to Will her past because she's been lying about who she is. She tells him, oh...
Well, I mean, she's even going by a different name.
Yes, which I couldn't figure out if it was a reference to somebody. Because it's Keri Tate, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like a Sharon Tate reference
and Keri.
Or Keri. Like, was that what it's supposed to be? I don't know. Because it feels like it would be if this movie was made now, that would be a reference to something. But I digress. She reveals everything to Will, and through their little dialogue, which is fantastic, by the way. It's like kind of the best scene in the movie. At least the best acted scene. She figures out that, hey, I think Will's probably not in Yosemite.
Yeah.
She calls him, he doesn't pick up. She's like, okay, I think Will ditched the Yosemite trip and is probably on campus with his girlfriend. We gotta find him.
Yeah.
And just then, that's when LL Cool J shows up and they find out, oh, the phone lines are down, and like, now basically Laurie knows what the game is. Michael is now on campus, and she is in grave danger, and so is Will.
Yeah.
So she gets her gun from under her pillow, which, again, light little detail, because we don't see the gun throughout the movie. She just is like, oh, we gotta go, and just grabs it under her pillow.
Yeah.
Cool character detail. And the hunt is on. It's her versus Michael. And this is when it actually turns into a slasher movie in the last 20 minutes of the film, where Charlie gets killed. He gets like his throat slashed off screen. Sarah gets demolished.
Yeah.
That was the most fucked up kill of the movie, because the dumbwaiter like snaps her leg, and like Michael like chases after her as she's crawling on the ground. I'm like, this is like brutal. This is like, oh man. And then he stabs the shit out of her. And then when John and Molly are like, we should go find them, walks, and what did Michael do to Sarah? Also, why does Sarah get the fucking worst of this? Because not only did he like break her leg, chase her down as she's crawling away and crying, stab her like a bajillion times, he hung her up, shoved a light in her skull, I think, like strung her up like a Christmas light, and when they flipped the switch they electrocuted her. What the fuck, Michael?
Maybe,
what did she do? Why you gotta be so mean?
Maybe he's not into all that rock and roll.
I mean, he is a fan of Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
Maybe he likes his 50s, you know, like core groups kind of thing. But, you know.
Yeah.
And how Michael is going to kill all of these people. And I'm so sorry. I completely forgot something.
Yes.
We get to see Michael's masks for the first time. We did get to see Michael's mask earlier.
In the opening kill.
In the opening kill, and the mask for that one is from I Curse of Michael Myers. It's the 6 mask, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because this movie is famous for having a different mask in almost every scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 6 masks in the film.
I think so. And I mean, a lot of bad CGI.
Yeah. Well, there's only one scene in the film where it's a CGI mask.
Yeah.
But it's really, really bad.
Where it turns purple.
Yes, it turns purple. And I don't know if this was like better on like VHS or like in the theater.
I don't know. I can't imagine seeing that on a big screen and being like, wow, that's beautiful. I'd be like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah, also the weirdest one. So I don't know if you have like the DVD for H20.
No, I don't.
Okay, well the back of my DVD has Michael in a mask that's like paper white, like
Mm-hmm.
I know he wears a white mask, but I mean like goofy white, like
compared to what we see in the movie.
Compared to what we see in the movie, and I was like, why does that look different? And I found out that was the original mask they did 90% of filming with. And then the mask you see in the close-ups in the movie is like a Don Bluth or Kevin Baker mask or whatever the fuck. And those are ones for all the close-ups. And again, I think I mentioned earlier the production of this movie is fucking wild and should not have resulted in a good film. So this was part of it. The producers, the powers that be, changed the mask like 3 times during production. And I don't mean like, we're in pre-production, we're not sure. Like, they're fucking filming and they're like, we don't like that mask, change it. And they're like, we already shot half the fucking movie with it. Mm-hmm. Like, you can see it change in scenes.
Yeah.
Like, in the wide shot, it's that super pale white one, and then the close-ups is a whole different mask.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to kill Charlie bumps in, turns, and we hold on this purple CGI mask for like way too fucking long.
Yeah. It's like we need to break away from that.
Why in the world do you think they would have done that? Why couldn't they have just used the 6 mask? What studio?
I don't know. I mean, you don't mess with the mask.
Well, they mess with the mask in every single movie.
Too much. It's too much. Leave it alone.
Why? I'm curious. Why is it that every Halloween movie after the first one, the mask never looks right again?
You're not gonna like my answer.
Oh, you're gonna say it, aren't you?
You're asking the question. Do you want me to answer it?
Please.
It was lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle. The answer that leads us nowhere.
It's the truth. It was lightning in a bottle. They created this mask. It was awesome. It got destroyed because it stayed under a bed for a couple of years, and it was in a house, with a smoker. It was in Deborah Hill's
house, yeah.
So, it wasn't preserved correctly because, this was a movie that they had made and didn't think, oh, we're going to need the mask for sequels. So it's just they couldn't use it beyond that. So, yeah, it was lightning in a bottle that they created this first mask. It was awesome. And ever since then, they've been trying to chase that down, but they haven't really been able to perfect it.
And it also kind of sucks because H2O has one of the worst masks.
Oh, absolutely. The film's great. It's just, how do you fuck up on the mask?
The mask looks like, even the masks that are like real and the close-up mask where the hair's all like poofy and weird, it looks awful. I also don't want to talk down about the actor who's playing Michael Myers.
I was about to say, I'm like, he doesn't move like Michael.
He moves weird.
Yeah, he moves very weird. He doesn't do the Michael, sitting up. He kind of looks like Michael after, I'm getting too old for this shit. That kind of Michael. And it's just like, nah, dude, you gotta be, Undertaker. You just keep going. There's nothing stopping you.
Well, the other thing about the whole, the stuntman or the actor who's playing Michael is the suit's not doing him any favors.
No.
The jumpsuit looks really poofy and like heavy. Like Michael looks bad in this movie.
And he's got, really young hands. It's like,
the young hands I'm not super turned off by, because Michael kind of exists outside of.
Oh, I know, but I mean, if he's supposed to be, her older brother, it's like these should be, a little bit more aged, meatier hands, He's a killing machine.
Yeah. It's also the whole thing where it's weird for a Halloween movie because I think I might have mentioned this earlier. This is a Halloween movie where Michael is not important in terms of like character and stuff. This is the Laurie Strode story and ending the chapter on her. And Michael just, it really does feel like they were like, we'll get some dude, put a Halloween costume on him and do the thing. And I mean Halloween costume as like, we're going down to Spencer's or Spirit Halloween and we're getting a Halloween costume. Because he doesn't move right, he doesn't look right. It really does feel like they just got a guy to be in the costume. Yeah. And it shows up a lot when they finally have their final like showdown here. Because Laurie manages to get John and Molly in a car and send them off. Yeah. Which, good on you, Laurie. Don't let your kids deal with the bullshit that you had to deal with. Good on you.
I mean, you know, John does get stabbed in the thigh.
Well,
but
nobody's perfect.
But I mean, compared to, you know, how his friends, you know, bit the dust, take a stab to the thigh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I take that every day. And I love this because I think this was like the big promo thing where she sends them off, but she stays behind because she's going to finish the job.
And she breaks the gate sensor.
Breaks the gate sensor with the axe, and she's running through.
No, she breaks it with a rock.
She breaks it with a rock, and she's running through the courtyard with the fucking axe, and it's looking bad fucking ass. And
because her boyfriend Will has bit the dust.
Her boyfriend Will has bit the dust by fucking taking her gun and unloading everything into the fucking wall.
On LL.
On LL Cool J. Also, LL Cool J should be fucking dead in this movie. He is not, but...
Because Will sees a shadow, and he's like, that's Michael, I gotta defend my woman's honor. And then it's like, no, you took LL out.
Yes.
He was trying to warn you.
I like how we gloss over that not only did LL Cool J get shot, Alan Arkin also died. Just gloss over that.
Yeah, you know, it happens.
But we're in the final showdown. Laurie, Michael, and this is where it gets really obvious what the movie is all about. It's about this sequence. Yeah. It's the final showdown, which I like better than 2018, mostly because I like how... I think it might just be the setting. I think I just like how it's shot. I like the idea of Laurie not turning into the Sarah Connor Terminator type of thing.
Nah, I still like that.
I know you like it. I think I just like this because it really is the whole, oh, she's kind of down and out. She has to be really scrappy about it. Oh, she... Instead of just, like, taking the knives out of the drawer, she has to throw them on the ground and, like, fling them at Michael. And he's just like, why are you doing that? Stop throwing things at me. I don't know. I just like this sequence a lot. It's, like, the best... It's, like, the best part of the movie for me. And it's kind of ruined because, again, it looks like Michael's wearing... I don't know, has, like, a pillowcase or a pillow inside of his jumpsuit. He looks way too big.
Yeah, and I mean... It's weird because Mustafa Akkad, he's the executive producer. I guess it was a thing where they were trying to pitch it where this wasn't supposed to be Michael Myers. This was supposed to be a copycat killer, and that was going to tie into Resurrection. And I don't know if it was like the studio execs. They didn't like that idea. Because, I mean, we'd seen it before in... which Friday?
Friday 5.
5.
One of the better, by the way, I know people shit on Friday the 13th Part 5. That's one of the good ones.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember. I actually
kind of like 5.
But I guess that was a premise that they were going for, but it just didn't work out. So it's like, okay, so I could kind of see where maybe that's why Michael doesn't look like Michael, act like Michael. This is somebody else portraying him.
Well, we're going to get into some of their meddling once we get to the end of this movie.
All right. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that little piece in there.
I mean, that makes sense. And honestly, with how indecisive a lot of these decisions are, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the working idea until like the final hour. Yeah. But we get their confrontation. Laurie stabs him like 6 times, throws him off of a balcony, and
impales him with a flag.
And then when she's finally about to kill him, LL Cool J rises from the dead and stops her, which I'm like, why, guy?
And he's like, no more.
No more. He's dead. No more. It's over. It's done. And we think it's the end of the movie.
Yes.
We think this is like the end. You know, we see the ambulances, the police have shown up. Oh, it's finally over. LL Cool J's like, no worries, baby. I just got grazed. I'm going to be a screenwriter now. Literally his lines in the movie. And Molly and John are fine. They're like, oh, yeah, we're going to be okay. And then Laurie's like, no, it's not fucking over yet.
Mhm.
And she steals the ambulance with Michael's body in it.
She steals... Sorry. She steals the coroner van.
The coroner van.
She picks up the axe off of a patrol car's hood because it's evidence.
Mhm.
Takes the axe.
Steals a cop's gun.
Right out of the holster. And she's like...
Laurie is going
She's
to
like,
real...
don't. And then she's like, load it up. And then she gets in the van and she takes off. And it's like, fuck yeah, Laurie. You handle business. You know your brother better than anyone else. That bitch is about to rise from the dead again.
Laurie's going to real-ass prison after this. Like, real-ass prison.
Nah, once everyone shows up, she's going to be like, you're welcome. And they're going to be like, damn, how did she know?
She's like, I'm the reason you're not getting any sequels after this. And then everyone's like, oh, honey. Oh, honey. And we get the end of the movie.
Yes.
The actual end of the movie. Which, to me, is how this whole franchise should have ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that sincerely. No, like 2018, I don't think does it better. I don't think Halloween Ends does it better.
Mm-hmm.
Resurrection is an abomination. This is how it should have ended. Because she finally gets Michael where she wants him to. He's pinned. He can't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They have their final, like stare down. Michael's kind of like
reaching for her,
and she's like, it's like that moment where they're like, they're right there. What is Michael doing? Is he trying to have a serious, like, human moment with her? Mm-hmm. Is this the shape finally breaking?
Yeah.
And she's about to, like, grab his hand, and then she pulls back and chops his fucking head off.
Yes.
I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm.
I know my feelings when I watched this for the first time. Because, again, I marathoned all these Halloween movies.
Oh, I know.
And I got to that part, and I was like, wait, Michael's dead? No, Michael can't die.
Exactly.
No way. That's impossible. No, it's impossible. How could it be? What about you? Because I don't think you've seen Resurrection.
No, I haven't seen Resurrection.
So
after hearing how bad it was, I was like, yeah, I'd rather not.
Makes sense. But I guess for you, when the movie ended like this, how did you react?
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, she beheaded him. Like, now what? Or is this just how the story ends?
Is this the end? Yeah, is this the end of the franchise?
Is this it?
Because this is what Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephen Miner and all the writers were like, yeah, this is how it ends. This is it. This is how we end the franchise. And everyone was on board except the producers,
and they were like, there's a clause here that he doesn't die.
Yes.
And Jamie Lee was ready to walk.
Well, here was the thing. Because again, the production of H2O was fascinating. I would recommend everyone out there after this, just look up the production of this because it's fucking wild. The Akkads, because they own the rights to Michael Myers and everything, have the clause of Michael cannot die. They always want to leave room for a sequel. Mm-hmm. Always have been, always will be, and everyone knew this going into this movie. Mm-hmm. The ending of this film, everyone knew that they had to leave room open for a sequel. And Stephen Miner, or it might have been Kevin Williamson or one of them, pitched the thing of, well, you see how Michael grabs the mask and he's trying to, like, take it off? Well, that's obviously because that's not Michael. That's somebody else. And they're like, okay, we'll roll with that. The intention by everyone involved who was actually on set shooting was this was the end. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis was like, I will do this. We will kill Michael, and then if they make me come back for anything else, I will demand to die. Mm-hmm. Because they knew they were going to make a sequel to this. Yeah. They knew they were going to make Resurrection. Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis basically said, if I come back for anything after this, I'm going to die, and that movie just won't count. Yeah. That's literally what they were talking about. And that's kind of why the worst part about H2O is the first 5 minutes of Resurrection. That's the worst part about this movie, is how they dealt with the franchise after this. Yeah. But that's the ending of H2O. I really like the ending of this movie. I really like this movie. I think it's messy, but I really like the movie.
Told you it's a good movie.
It is a good movie. I never said it wasn't a good movie. I think it's messy as hell.
It's messy, but I mean, it's an organized mess.
It's a tight mess.
It's like you're able to figure out a path through the mess.
Yeah, because it's a thing where not many of the like the teenage characters are really not that thoroughly explored.
No.
Like they're not that important.
Mm-mm.
They're important because they're cannon fodder, and one of them's their son, but like they don't really affect anything all that much. They're just people for Michael to kill. Anybody else, like LL Cool J as Ronnie, is fun. Like he's an explored character. We know things about him, but it's also like, he's comedic relief. He's not progressing the plot or anything like that. The reason I think this movie works and is so well done is because Jamie Lee Curtis is just like, well, we're just going to do a character study on Laurie Strode, and that's 90% of the movie.
And it's good.
It's a good character study.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting to see where she is 20 years later and how, she's able to crawl her way out of wherever she was before she landed this gig. Mm-hmm. But it just leaves more questions, Well, who was your ex-husband? Where did you meet? Was he from Haddonfield? Was this somebody else? Where did you go after all of this? It leaves all those questions unanswered.
I don't know if that matters.
It doesn't, but it's just, when you're sitting there thinking about it, it's like, oh, okay, I want to know more.
When you start doing, like, the math on, like, well, if Josh Hartnett's 17 and this was 20 years ago and you were like 17 or 16 in that
17, I think, in 78.
Yeah, so like, okay, so you had a
son
she was
and around 20.
A 20, but your husband was like a methadone addict and this and that, and you when you start doing the math and starts piecing things together, it paints a very grim picture.
Yeah.
And then Laurie's turns into like, well, I'm the headmistress of a very prestigious school, and you're like, there's a lot of personal growth and struggle in there.
That's why it leaves you with a lot of questions. What happened is like, we need like a Laurie Strode novel to see how she got from point A to point C.
I guess, but I don't know if I really like the idea of filling in those details, because I think filling in the details, it's one of those things where it's a key difference between you and me is the details to me don't matter so much as what we have. Like, I like the idea of keeping some of that stuff vague, because that lets, if you keep it vague, then anything can kind of work in there that your mind can make up. But once you start putting details on it, there's a lot more room for them to fuck up. Because then you get into contradictory stuff. It's the reason why the prequels for Star Wars fucked up, is because they explain the Force, and then it makes everything else retroactively funky.
Yeah, that's true.
But H2O, are you a fan?
Of course.
Big fan?
Pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
Pretty decent, yeah.
Pretty decent.
Would recommend.
I would also recommend Halloween H2O. It's probably the best sequel to Halloween, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is also our example of the slasher revival, the return of classic slasher killers.
Yes.
Because
next week we're jumping into a new genre.
We are jumping into a new genre. Arguably, we're jumping into the film that killed slasher movies again. What's that movie going to be?
We're going to be watching a little film called The Blair Witch Project.
The Blair Witch Project, a movie that I don't think you have ever seen.
I have not. That was one of those movies during the 90s where my mom was like, absolutely not. And then I was kind of like,
Well, you would have been like, what, 8, 9 when this movie came out?
It came out, what, in 99?
99?
Yeah, so I was 8.
Yeah. Your mom's not taking you to see the fucking Blair Witch Project as an 8-year-old. The fuck are you talking about?
Everyone was talking about it. I'm like, man, this is like the scariest thing ever. And I'm like, all right, I might want to throw my hat in there and see if I can handle it.
Bullshit. You were like, Mom, let's go see Beauty and the Beast for the 17th time. And your mom's like, yes, because I'm not taking you to see the fucking Blair Witch Project. You were an Ariel girl, weren't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I see.
But I mean, I was alive for Beauty and the Beast.
You starting to do math again? Wait,
yeah.
I don't think you were alive for Ariel.
No, I wasn't. That was 89 or 88.
Yes. Yeah, 89. Yeah.
It's somewhere in there. So, but know.
Next week we'll be doing the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the Blair Witch Project. We have a guest that's going to be joining us for that episode.
Yes, it is one of his favorite movies, I believe.
Every time the said guest comes on, it's always his favorite movie. I'm convinced, any movie is his favorite movie, kind of like you.
Life happens.
And I have my favorite movies, but really that one's my favorite movie. Wait, no, that one's my favorite.
That's my real favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Blair Witch Project, very excited for that one. It's a movie that, if you had to encapsulate movies that fucking changed things in the 90s in the horror genre, all right? Not saying that they changed cinema. Yeah. But in the horror genre specifically, like Scream and Blair Witch, they did that shit. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to listen to that, where can they go?
If you want to listen to us on a different platform than you currently are, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube.
You can go to our YouTube channel, The Film Vault. That is The Film Vault on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe to the video versions of this podcast and check out our back catalog. But if you wanted to follow us on social media, you can go to
The Film Club Podcast on Instagram, where we post upcoming episodes, who's going to be our guests for those episodes, and random adventures we go on.
And with that...
Happy Halloween. Just kidding. It's not Halloween yet. We'll see you next week.
Have a good week, everybody.